So I just turned on the recording. So this is our first UAAC meeting of this fiscal year, and I'm really excited for this. I'm really excited for what we can do here. I first want to check in with everyone before we start. Is everyone in a comfortable location? And when I just admit Alan, yeah, so is everyone in a comfortable location? I know there's a heat wave right now, so is everyone in a good spot with that and taking care of themselves and like comfortable for this meeting? Yeah, I know that, Rasco. I'm just checking before informally. Thanks. Okay, so before, I guess I'll call the meeting to order at 5:36 p.m. on the 26th of July 2022. Thank you, everybody. I'm really excited for this. And again, I do want to first check in and let everyone know that since there is a heat wave going on right now, please feel free to reach out to me or anyone else if you need any kind of assistance or any accommodation related to that. I really hope that we can have a good meeting in light of that, and hopefully it's not too distracting for everyone. I'm currently in this sub, but my office is a bit hot, but I can't think I'll survive. Yeah. So let's go through the agenda. Has everyone had access to the agenda to open it up? It should be on everyone's emails. Feel free to respond to me in the chat. Okay, thumbs up. Great. I see lots of thumbs up. Great. Awesome. Okay. Make sure I have everything open here. Just gonna open up the agenda for myself as well. So drop it in the chat here. Sorry, everybody, for the delay. I just sent the agenda in the chat, and then I'll also send the meeting minutes for meeting minutes approval from the last UAAC meeting. The download first. Last UAAC meeting was in 2021-08-06. So I'm sending it here so everyone has reference to it. It's also in your emails. Okay. So I've called the meeting to order, and we'll start with the territorial acknowledgement. So we respectfully acknowledge that the SFSS is located on the traditional unceded territories of the Coast Salish peoples, including the Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, Coquitlam, and Katzie nations. Unceded means that these territories have never been handed over, sold, or given up by these nations, and we're currently situated on occupied territories. We'll go on to a roll call of attendance. So I'm Nicole Kerrigan, or Nikki, you can call me that. I'm the VP University and Academic Affairs. I'm the chair of this committee. Thank you so much all for being here. So when we go through roll call of attendance, is similar to council. We'll talk about, you'll introduce your name, your pronouns and your access needs. So my pronouns, I go by she, her pronouns. In terms of access needs, I have a few, but nothing that can really be addressed in this format. I hope I won't be too bothered by the heat. It might mess with my focus, but hopefully I'll be able to do well despite that. Yeah, but I'll go on to the ex officio, which is Helen Sophia Pahu, our president. And I saw that Helen dropped her introduction in the chat. So I'll read it out loud. So Helen said, just going to do my intro here now since I'm preoccupied with urgent matters right now. My name is Helen, president of SFSS, she, her pronouns, access needs, keeping my camera off. Won't be speaking today as I have urgent matters pertaining to the society to look after. So thank you, Helen. I do want to say before we go on to the next one that I recognize that people may need to have their cameras off because of the heat situation. I totally understand that, but if you can have it on, that'd be great just for me so I can see people and have some feedback that way. So I just request that if you can. So I'm going to go on to the next person. So VP External and Community Affairs, Ishana Baran. She sent in her regrets for this and we'll be ratifying those later on. So next one is the communications counselor, Alan.
Yeah, hey everyone, my name is Alan, pronouns he, him, and all my access needs are met.
Thank you, Alan. Okay, FCATSU, Rasco.
Hi, my name is Rasco. I'm the FCATSU rep and also the Associate VP UAA. My pronouns are he, him. As for access needs, I am in a different time zone, so it is very likely I may have to leave the meeting early. Thank you.
Thank you, Rasco. Okay, next is Health Sciences Counselor, Priyanka.
Hi everyone, I'm the health science counselor. My name is Priyanka and my pronouns are she, hers, and my access needs are met today.
Thank you. Okay, next one is Sociology and Anthropology Counselor Arthur. I see Arthur dropped his in the chat. So he says, hi, my name is Arthur, he, him, pronouns, representing SASU. My access needs are all met. Great. So we'll move on to society staff then after people who aren't listed on the roll call of attendance. So I see that Muriel is here, so feel free to introduce yourself and thank you for being here.
Hi everybody, my name is Muriel. I'm the Campaigns and Mobilization Coordinator at the SFSS. I use she, her pronoun. All my access needs are met, but I'll have to keep my camera off because I have multiple tabs open and I keep on getting a notification that I have low system resource. So it may be affecting my audio quality or me hearing you guys if I decide to minimize the screen. So I'm sorry about that.
No worries. Thank you so much for being here and supporting us, Muriel. I really appreciate it. And I think the administrative assistant is going to be looking at the recording after, so I don't think she's here. But let's go on to the students and non-named members on the roll call of attendance. I'll start with Gur. You can introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, I'm Gur, I'm Associate VP UAA, and yeah, my access needs, my laptop isn't working that well, so I might drop out of the call here and there. Other than that, all good. My pronouns are he, him.
Thank you. Understood. Thank you for being here. Let's go on to the next person. I think Alan Lam.
Hi, I'm Alan Lam. I'm the Science Undergraduate Senator. My pronouns are he, him. All my access needs are met. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alan, for being here. One moment, I'm just getting a message from somebody that can't access the meeting. Can you try again? Oh no, I don't know how to let them in. Maybe log with a different account. Does anyone know any troubleshooting?
I think like I couldn't access the links. I had to put in my like the video ID. So if they're like sending to a different page, tell them just put the ID for the chat.
Okay. I'm letting them know that they can try the video ID and that somebody else had a similar issue. Let me just send it to them. Sorry, everybody. Let me just do it really briefly here. Let's see. Hopefully it's faster next time and more expedient. Okay, just forwarded the email. They can try and then we can come in and get them to introduce themselves via chat later on. Okay, so is there anyone I missed? I also want to note that the backup host is my other computer. Oh, Abby, yes, go for it, Abby.
Hi everyone, my name is Abby, he, him pronouns. I'm currently the VP Finance of the SFSS, student senator and the Board of Governor representative, the undergrad Board Governor representative. And in terms of access needs, I'll just have probably my camera off because I'm sharing an office with someone else at the moment. And I'll probably have to be careful about my mic because it might start echoing at some point. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, that sounds good. Thank you for being here, Abby, as well. Okay, so I'm going to, Arthur suggested I can make someone else a co-host. I think I'll do that for her. So if somebody has to join and I miss it, just you can let them in. Okay, just did that. Okay, great. Thanks everybody for your patience. So we have to then move on to consent agenda. We're going to ratify regrets later on by adding it to the agenda since it wasn't on the original agenda. So we're moving on to item 4, consent agenda 4.1. So it says be it resolved to adopt the consent agenda by unanimous consent. I believe I have to amend that. So just give me a
No,
moment.
Nikki, no, you're good there. You just have to ask for unanimous consent.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm going to say be it resolved to adopt the consent agenda by unanimous consent. We don't need a mover or seconder. We just, is everyone good with doing that? Actually, I'll like go on it with the preamble saying that under 4.11, there's matters arising from the minutes with accessibility committee minutes, motion UAA 2022-07-26. There are the past minutes from the UAA committee are 2021-08-06. So that was the last time that the University and Academic Affairs Committee met. It was in August of 2021. So the way this works is that we usually ratify the minutes from the previous last meeting, and that was the last meeting of the UAA committee with the last board. I wonder, like, I guess with proper due process, I looked through it and I didn't see any issues with it. Did anyone else have a chance to look through them and make sure that they're fine? If anyone doesn't have an issue with it, I think it should be fine though. We can take a quick look at it now if we want to be exact about it, but I don't know how much it matters. That it looks, I looked over it and it looks quite good. So is everyone good with filing the following minutes, UAA 2021-08-06, and with a motion to be it resolved to receive and file the following minutes? Do a thumbs up if it's good. So I guess that's how I'll do unanimous consent. So just put a thumbs up. So I see Priyanka, Alan, Abby. Okay, that's good. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we passed item 4.1. Yeah. I think I missed 4.1 though, so be it resolved to adopt the consent agenda by unanimous consent, do thumbs up again if that's good with everyone. So thumbs up. Okay, good, thank you. Okay, adoption of the agenda. So I think this is where I would come in to amend and add things into the agenda. So let's look at what I put down here. Okay, so for adoption of the agenda, we need a mover and seconder. So I'm going to list myself and move to add a section for regrets. And I need a seconder for that.
FCAT seconds.
FCAT seconds, thank you. So seeking unanimous consent to add a section for the regrets of Ishana Baran, the VP External and Community Affairs. Put thumbs up if you're good with that, to add it to the agenda. Great. Thank you, everyone. Okay. And now this is a time to list if you would like to add anything to the agenda at all. So please list if you would like to add anything at this time to the agenda. If you feel like there hasn't been anything or something that hasn't been addressed there. So let's see here. And if you forget now, you can do it later, but it would be a bit harder. But we can add it later on. I think I'm going to list myself here. Add another discussion item, really brief one. So I list and I move to add a discussion item. I'll add it between. So I'll add it, it'll be the new 11.5 and everything else will be moved down. So I moved to add 11.5. I'm going to title it advertisement for student outreach. Student outreach. Large. So I moved to add 11.5 and I'll move down everything that's already there for advertisement and student outreach for member at large applications. Who seconds this? Okay, we need somebody to second.
Can I second it or am I not allowed to?
I think one of the elected members needs to do it.
Health sign seconds.
I'll sign seconds. Okay. Thank you. So seeking unanimous consent to add this to the agenda. Thumbs up. Okay. Since nobody has expressed dissent, I see some thumbs up. This is passed, and we add 11.5 advertisement and student outreach for member at large applications. Okay, great. And then after this, I'm gonna do a last call. Does anyone want to add anything else to the agenda today? Seeing no response, I'll move on to the next item here, and that is. Let's see. Okay. Sorry, everybody, I'm learning this process. Want to make sure I do it right. Okay. So be it resolved to adopt the agenda as presented. I move this motion. I need a seconder.
Stasu second.
Sass, 2 seconds. Thank you so much. Any issues with this? Seeking unanimous consent? Seeing none, we move on. Thank you so much. This has been carried. The agenda has been adopted with all the amendments. Or yes, okay. Okay, we start with 7. Okay, so this is reports from the University and Academic Affairs Committee Chair. So thank you so much, everybody, for your patience. I know that this is a bit rough starting out, and I really appreciate everyone being here and coming to this emergency meeting and being here for the first meeting. So thank you so much. I'm starting with 7.1, so 2021, or it's actually there's a typo here. I'll fix it. 2022 to 2023 Vice President, University and Academic Affairs' vision for the UAA committee, submitted by me. So I want to just give a really quick note of what my vision is for this committee and for my role. And it's essentially everything that my platform was when I ran for this position is still holds true. I still, my biggest priority is student involvement, engagement, dialogue, transparency, all those things at the SFSS. And I really hope that in this committee, we can have our priorities centered around what the student body actually wants and needs from us, and actually have a meaningful impact out of what we actually do in this committee. I don't want this committee to be something where we just end up talking about things and nothing happens, or we serve a small population of students. I really want us to both serve, students and that need, I guess like a smaller population of students that need advocacy, right? But also consider what the larger student body wants as well. So, and I really hope that as we go forward with our affairs in this committee, we can really consider that as our priority. And I want to also have a ton of student consultation and discussion and dialogue, and use that to actually govern how we're going to be moving forward with this committee and what our priorities are. So I hope for it to be like an interconnected process where we are always engaging with students and the student body at large and trying to reach them where they're at, not just going and trying to talk to the most local students, but really trying to have a really successful and effective outreach so we can actually reach all students where they're at in a really low barrier and accessible manner, and really ensure that we're making representative decisions for everyone. So thank you very much, everyone. And I really hope that you share my vision and we can discuss this going forward. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next item. So this is 7.2, University and Academic Affairs Priorities. So right now, I am working on the University and Academic Affairs annual plan for this fiscal year for my role. And I have delayed this process intentionally because I want to ensure that I am hearing student voices and ensuring that they're actually governing and guiding from the bottom up what my priorities are for this year. I really don't want to make unilateral decisions with the University and Academic Affairs position. I want to ensure that students are actually telling me what they want and telling me what the priorities are, because although I may have some insight in what the student body wants, I can't read minds. I can't just guess, and I'm not in a position to be the authority over the student body. And I really think the responsibility of being in a position like this is centered around knowing what your power is and actually ensuring that you're aware of like what your limitations are, because I can't just unilaterally decide what students want. I have no insight to like read the minds of all students. We need to really ensure that we're on the ground and we're really doing low barrier outreach methods to actually get insight from what students really want. So right now, my priority for this role is to work on my annual plan, but I need the guidance from the committee and also from students in creating the priorities and the annual plan from the bottom up. And I really hope that we can go forward and ensure that my annual plan is as representative as possible, because that's really what I'm setting out to do here. And we will talk about this going forward. I think in this meeting, I'm giving more of a preamble of kind of what the whole I guess like environment looks around with my role. right, and what's going on, but in the next few meetings, we'll really workshop this. So yeah, thank you. So the next one, item 7.3, formation of the council mental health and wellbeing working group. So I assume that most of the counselors were there. And okay, I want to say thank you so much, Ryan, for being here. I'm glad you're able to join. Thank you. Feel free to actually please introduce yourself in the chat. You can write your name, pronouns, and access needs. If there's anything we need to be able to fully participate in this, please let me know and I'll be happy to accommodate. Thank you so much, Ryan, for being here. Yeah, but going forward, with 7.3, formation of the council mental health and wellbeing working group, I assume that most of you were there for the council meeting, but just to give a quick refreshment of your minds, I formed a mental health and well-being working group that's centered around the well-being and mental health of council, because this position is extremely heavy on our mental health and taxing on our mental health and well-being, and it's just the nature of what this position is for most people and in my experience. And there needs to be preventative measures put in to actually protect our mental health and well-being instead of just addressing these issues after they happen. And that's the main focus of this working group. So I will be talking more about this in the next UAAC meeting, but I really hope that a lot of you will be able to participate in one way or another. And we'll be doing some of that work as well in here. And as a perspective measure, I do want to say that the idea is to expand this working group into its own committee that is closely related with the University and Academic Affairs Committee, and expand it to also students. So a committee focused on the mental health and well-being students, as well as counselors. So internal and external. So yeah, thank you everybody with that. So I'll be moving on to summary of the tuition consultation meeting with university administration. So I had a really cool meeting. I would say it was really exciting. I was really happy to be invited to that meeting with the university administration. So nice. Sorry, there's people outside my office. Go away. Thank you. Sorry. So this meeting was really cool because in my role as university and academic affairs, my main role is to liaise with the university and university administrators and ensure that the SFSS has a direct channel of communication with the university and that to make policy recommendations and all those things. Yeah, so with this meeting, the other people that were there were Abby, VP Finance, and as well as Helen, our president of the SFSS, and we met with two administrators. So these administrators are, I'm just pulling it up right now, Rumana Khan and Wade Parkhouse. They're both high-level administrators. They're both, I believe they're vice provosts at the university. So there's a whole hierarchical structure within the university. It takes a lot to explain, and we may actually talk about it within one of our meetings because it's important to know the context of how things actually work here. And how the structure of the university works so we can best strategize how to move forward. But essentially, in summary, the meeting, what they expressed to us that there's a budget consultation process that happens, I believe, every year with the university, where they are negotiating and liaising and consulting with people to figure out how to distribute their income sources, right? And how to spend their money within the university. And one of the biggest parts of that budget consultation process is the tuition consultation process with students. And the university met with me, Abby, and Helen to discuss strategies and the best ways of going forward and how to make this tuition consultation process the best it can be and the most effective it can be. So that it is representative of what students actually want. So I was really impressed with the general sentiment that was expressed by these administrators, Rumana and Wade, in this meeting. And I took some brief notes of the meeting, but Rumana said that it was they really that she really wanted to run ideas by us with how the tuition consultation process should look like, which means that they seem to intend to actually want to work with us closely, the university. And they're open with actually having strong collaboration between the SFSS and the university, which is a really good sign. And Wade Parkhouse said that he's been in the tuition consultation process for 15 years and has been disappointed in the past with the process because they, in his opinion, have not heard enough from students and staff with how the budget is prioritized. And yeah, and he really wants to improve this. And he also said that UBC actually had a tremendous response in their own tuition consultation process from students on where to prioritize how money is spent. And this is really important because this whole process is about how money is spent. And that's underlies like our student services we have access to, like help and counseling, mental health supports, quality of instruction, right? Like, and it actually is quite important. So I'm really happy that they are looping us in, and their whole intention seems to be that they really want to make this process as representative as possible. They want to be transparent about what's the financial process that goes into it and what are their priorities. They want to, and they said too that they don't just want responses from the most vocal, like let's say 25 students that are really loud and vocal. Like for example, at that kind of a town hall encourages that kind of response, right? Because usually the most involved students would go to a town hall. And that can be a part of a consultation process, but shouldn't be the exclusive part of a consultation process if we want to be representative. They really want low barrier, accessible means of reaching out to students, like with surveys and tabling, and those are just some of the ideas, but they're really looking to ensure that like all different types of student populations respond to their tuition consultation process, and they make sure that their priorities generated are actually a priority to most students. I hope that makes sense to people. I can go more into it, but yeah, that's all I think I should talk about that for now. So 7.5 is that imitation of the former VP University and Academic Affairs portfolio, Serena Baines. So I actually invited Serena, the previous Vice President, University and Academic Affairs, to come to this committee and present their exit report and possibly their annual plan and talk about how everything went and what their vision for this committee and their role is. And I really do believe in dialogue and consultation and collaboration. And I think that it would be of a net benefit to us to include Serena. So hopefully we can make that happen. I've been in communication with Serena on that. And 7.6, this is the last one prior to the discussion starting. So this is discussion preamble from the chair. So I just want to give a bit of a primer with what we'll be talking about today. So today we have some discussion items. We have about 10 discussion items. A lot of them are short, so that's hopeful. And I hope that like this meeting won't go too long. So I'm going to just give a quick summary of what we'll be talking about today. So 11.1 is a systematic analysis and policy review of the University and Academic Affairs portfolio. Just a quick overview this time because we don't have a lot of time to go into the nitty-gritty today of this. But we'll just be talking about like what actually is the role of University and Academic Affairs. What's the significance of it? How can we be a benefit? How can we prioritize what we should be working on for this year so we can make the biggest possible impact? And also how the whole portfolio, like my job description, relates to this committee. And then the next discussion item is also a systematic analysis and policy review of the committee specifically, so of the bylaws pertaining to this and policies pertaining to this committee, and how that relates to my job description, and just so we all have an awareness of what we're doing, what our predecessors set out for us to do, and what our limitations are. And that's just the start of the process. We'll probably need to have more conversations going forward on this. This is just the beginning part of this. 11.3 might be the most important discussion item. It's UAAC strategic planning. So we'll be talking about the purpose of our committee, the vision of our committee, and some guiding principles that we should consider going forward. I think that this will be best resolved in a motion later on, but we need to have a preliminary discussion on this. But the idea is to use these guiding principles that we discussed today to actually inform the selection criteria for members at large for our committee. So the next discussion item is selection criteria for members at large for our committee. And I hope that we can use the previous discussions to guide like how we come up with these selection criteria so that we're making representative decisions and doing it in a fair and impartial process as much as possible. And then next discussion item is the one that I amended onto the agenda. So it's advertisement and student outreach for member at large applications. So this is just a discussion on whether and how we should or how we can best advertise the second call for applications for member at large members for the committee. Just keep this here so I don't lose that. So that's 11.5. It's amended onto the agenda. So I'm just going to add this in here so I don't forget. And then that previous 11.5 has been moved down. Now it's 11.6. So student tuition consultation. This opens up the opportunity for discussion on the tuition consultation meeting that I had with the university, which I discussed earlier. 11.6 is optimizing student outreach and engagement and membership surveys. So this is really a student outreach and engagement focused. And I think it's really important to have a discussion on that. 11.7 is a quick touching base on whether we should and how we should reach out to departmental student unions. 11.8 is discussing a fall 2022 meeting time, and 11.9, or I think they're all moved down, but it's an upcoming emergency meeting, and then we go in camera, X camera, and then there's just a few announcements, which doesn't take much time at all. So I hope that's good. I hope that gives a bit of a preview of what we'll be talking about today. Obviously, the agenda items are not intended to take too long, but there's many of them, but they're there for the purpose of structure in this meeting, since we do have some stuff to go through. So yeah, I hope everyone is doing well right now, and please let me know if you need any accommodation, if I can help in any kind of way with your access needs, especially considering the heat wave. So yeah, we'll go on to the first discussion item. So this is 11.1, systematic analysis and policy review of the university and academic affairs portfolio. So with that, I will open up our bylaws and we'll read together the my job description. We'll talk about it. So, and I also sent this as an attachment for the meeting. Let's see here. This is the 5 days. Let me try to share my screen right now. I've never done this. Share screen. Let's see. Okay, can everyone see this screen that I'm sharing right now? I can't see you guys anymore, so you can see it. Okay, good. All right, so we'll go through this really quickly. So I think it's under. So is coming in here. Okay. It's under bylaw 7, powers, duties, and obligations of the executive committee. We can go over this. So under item 13, that is my job description. And what I really want to get across is that the things listed in my job description are actually things that directly pertain to our committee and what we're doing in our committee. So, and you guys can all read this later on as well, but whatever is listed in my job description actually is the framework of what we're allowed to do in this committee, if that makes sense. So I'll just read it out loud really quickly. So my job description is to act as a liaison between the council and the university, act as a liaison with and lobby the university on issues that affect the undergraduate student population on behalf of the society. So what's important to think about this one is that issues that affect this undergraduate student population, right? There's a lot that can be done with this item just by itself. Coordinate student representation on all university committees to which the society nominates or appoints. I believe that pertains directly to this one that we're in right now. Coordinate student involvement in university community affairs and activities. Facilitate collective action by undergraduate students and coordinates campaigns within the university. So that's actually, this is working together with Muriel, one of our lovely staff members. Make recommendations on the establishment of policy on issues relating to university and academic affairs. So this is actually, I think, really important and really cool that we have the jurisdiction to actually work on this, because policy is something that's long-standing and has an important effect on students. So be the chair of this committee, so University and Academic Affairs Committee. And then, yes, I assume the duties and obligations of president if the president, VP Internal, and VP Finance are unwilling or unable to act as president, be a signing officer, train and advise the incoming VP Academic and University Affairs, and perform any other duties that's outlawed in the bylaws, regulations, or signed by the council or executive committee. So I'm going to open up the floor right now to people to list themselves. So if you, again, to remind you guys, if you would like to add to this discussion, just I'll give a sample. I'll put list in the chat. So you just list and then I'll call on you to talk. So yeah, if anyone wants to add to this discussion or say which ones that they feel are the important parts of my portfolio or job description or something that they want to see in this committee, please, I would like to start the conversation and really have this be a collaborative committee. So I really hope that people start just add to this discussion. So please feel free to list. Okay, thank you, Gur. So I'll list myself first. So I'm going to list. So I'm going to call on myself. So the things that I really hope to see in this committee this year are a lot of, I want to have on the ground research and a low barrier and accessible forms of outreach to students that really ensure that we're having representative, we're ensuring that our like priorities are representative of what their needs actually are and what they actually want. So this pertains to B, because on issues that affect the undergraduate student population on behalf of the society, we need to understand what there are the issues that affect the undergraduate student population. And in order to do that, we need to have really effective outreach and engagement. So I really hope that we can, in the committee, work on that and really refine this process and come up with an actual process so that everything's streamlined. That's what I really hope to see this year. If anyone agrees, feel free to please list yourself or plus in the chat to note your agreement. And then I really believe in coordinating student involvement in university community affairs and activities. I really think that we should really have a student-centric focus within this committee and ensuring that students are actually making an impact and governing what we do in this committee. So I really hope to see that. I really hope that we actually have some policy work in this committee. So technically, my portfolio is in relation to policy in a university, and we can always talk about that. There's a ton of university policy that affects students, and there's some that does need to be looked into by our committee. But there's also policy within the SFSS that pertains to university and academic affairs, and I really hope to see us make policy change as well, because it is the long-term type of change that we can do. So would anyone like to add to the discussion to say which ones you're the most excited about for this year? Okay, if no, I'll move on from this one. So we'll go to 11.2, systematic analysis and policy review of the University and Academic Affairs Committee. So I'm going to pause the screen share and then open up another. Yeah. Okay, can you all see this?
No, I think it's to be sure.
I'll resume share. Okay, cool. Can you guys all see this?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay. So I'm going to go to the University Academic Affairs Committee. This is under section 3 of the SFSS Council Policies SO7 on page 79. So everything that's written here under SO7 directly pertains to what we're doing within the University Academic Affairs Committee, and it is our terms of reference. So it tells us our aims and priorities in general, but it is very generalized. So this year I do want to ensure that we have a discussion about this. Yeah, so before, can you share the doc in the chat, which this one?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Let's do this. I don't think I can right now. They need to.
Okay, you can send out an email.
They have it in their. I'll send it in here. Oh, Arthur, thank you so much. Okay. Can you all see the screen still?
Yeah.
Well, I think, yeah, I just I'm not gonna do it. Okay. Turn into a different one here. Okay, good. Okay. So there's relevant bylaws. We can always look into this later. But university, so starting with 7.1, the council shall maintain the University and Academic Affairs Committee as a standing committee. So what this means is when council shall maintain this committee, that means that we report to council. And that's something that does need to be clarified, how often we report to council, and what kind of circumstances we would need to talk to council and ask for council for guidance, because one thing that does limit our committee is that we do have to seek guidance from council, but it's not entirely clear on when to do that, on how often and what circumstances. So that's something we should talk about. But generally 7.1, council shall maintain the University and Academic Affairs Committee as a standing committee. 7.2, this committee shall generally coordinate work regarding university advocacy campaigns and member-facing student information campaigns. So this is written by some of the past administrators. I believe, I guess like the executive committee members from the past. And this does say that generally, this is the work that we should do. I think it's not an exclusive thing, but it does guide us generally on what to do. So coordinate work regarding university advocacy campaigns. So we figure out what we should advocate for, and member facing. Oh, sorry. Let's turn it off. It's SFU, but I'll roll it. Okay. I'll just turn off my phone. I was expecting a call from SFU, but I have to look into this later. Okay. So this committee, member-facing student information campaigns. So member-facing is the student body. Our membership of the SFSS is the student body. So member-facing is campaigns that are intended for the audience of students. Student information can be, for example, something even related to the current heat wave, and giving information about how to stay safe during the heat wave. That's my understanding of it. For composition of this committee, ex officio always under all the committees is the president. So the president holds a seat. If the president is not in attendance, it doesn't mean that it would take away a seat from quorum. But if the president is in attendance, it does give us one person to meet quorum. And the president can vote on matters as well. Chairperson is my position, Vice President, University and Academic Affairs. 5 counselors. These counselors, as you know, are elected by council up to 7 at-large members, and then non-voting. So all undergraduate student representatives sitting on the University Board of Governors or Senate. So non-voting means that they can't vote, but they are very much so an encouraged member of this committee and are named for a reason to be here, because they do have insight into what students need for their representation. There's also non-voting all constituency group representatives on council, and also non-voting campaigns, research, and policy coordinator. So starting in our terms of reference, 7.3, identify and prioritize issues of concern to students. So we know that that is something that's very important for us to do, and that's actually really how we start. We don't, how do we know what we're going to do if we don't identify these issues and come up with a plan to prioritize and which ones to handle first? That's really important for us. 7.4, develop and coordinate strategies to address those concerns, right? 7.5, establish working groups to implement campaigns and take actions to address those concerns, right? A lot of our work can be done through working groups of the committee. 7.6, ensure that the society members are informed of these issues and the steps taken to address them, right? So this is communications, student outreach. Review 7.7, review the progress of business from the Senate, Council. This is a typo. This is Board of Governors, not Council of Governors. It does not exist. That needs to be changed. So review the progress of business from the Senate, Board of Governors, Senate committees, and other committees, assemblies, or decision-making bodies of the university. So we actually have some sort of oversight. We aren't formally recognized as an oversight as a committee. However, I am included as a member of some university committees just by being VPUAA, for example, enrollment appeals committee to make decisions on tuition refunds. But yeah, so the intention is to have oversight on the university's moves in terms of their decision making and how it affects students. 7.8, creating information campaigns directed towards the society membership regarding university advocacy. 7.9, the committee shall establish working groups wherever possible and may strike subcommittees when necessary to be used sparingly in order to conduct the business of the committee. And then governance, 7.10, the committee will strive for consensus where no consensus is reached. The committee will make decisions by simple majority vote. 7.11, the committee shall take into consideration and respect Indigenous forms of governance and recognize how often other forms of governance overrule Indigenous ways of knowing, especially on occupied stolen territories. 7.12, when the committee takes into account Indigenous forms of governance, the committee shall consider other aspects and ways of knowing in order to properly support this decision-making process. This could include inviting Indigenous elders of the territories and asking for advice for support in the decision-making process, and B, finding ways to include Indigenous forms of governance, i.e. talking circles, transparency process, and community engagement. So yeah, this is there's just 2 pages talking about governance of our committee and how we should proceed in our affairs. If anyone would like to list, feel free to do so now if you want to add to this discussion. Since it is a discussion item, I want to add this in. But if not, we'll move on to 11.3, which is UAAC strategic planning, the purpose, vision, and guiding principles. I actually won't talk for this. It'll just be a discussion, and I do hope that everyone lists at least once to just add to this discussion. So I'll move on to 11.3 UAAC strategic planning. So I would like to ask everyone to have at least one comment. What do you feel should be the purpose and vision of this committee, and what are some guiding principles that we should use in order to help guide us in how we move forward in this committee? So please list in the chat.
I think I'll speak. I think I'll speak on.
How do I stop sharing?
Okay.
I think everyone I just figured out how to stop sharing. So Gur has listed first. I'll hope that everyone else will list afterwards, but please start with your thoughts.
I think like our main purpose should be like how can we do better outreach to the community, as well as take those complaints and take those like feedback from the community to help us form a better accessibility structure for the society, as well as push those things to SFU for having those accessibility needs. I believe like a lot of problems are there with like CAL, Center of Accessibility Learning, and like uh, with, uh, with, with health and counseling services at SFU too, and there's like a lot of complaints, but none of them are structuralized. So there's no proper advocacy for that. So I would believe that should be kind of our vision for the committee. Thank you. I think Alan is next. So
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I definitely think that
So
at least.
I will
Oh, sorry.
call on Alan next. Or- yes. Okay, great. So I'll call on Alan right now.
Okay, am I good to talk now? Okay. Yeah, sweet. Okay, if you guys can hear me, yeah. No, I think definitely short term, well, short term as in this year, we should definitely be looking with the purpose of handling how do we come out of this pandemic with online learning. So finding the best ways to adapt and use what worked and take what doesn't work. So I think that's really should be one of the main guiding forces of us.
Thank you so much, Alan. I just want to go back to you. Yeah, and say that do you have any ideas on like some of the guiding principles that we should use maybe to help our decision making in this committee as well? Like what should we use to ensure that our decisions are representative of what students actually need?
I relisted, but yeah, I think the big thing, like you said before, is engagement. Like even with these meetings, it would be great to see a greater turnout of students speaking on behalf of issues. I think the main issue of the stereotype of a commuter campus is students are maybe not afraid, but just maybe unwilling to take a step and reach out and talk. So just through greater engagement and yeah, pretty much that.
Thank you. So I'm calling for more lists. So you can start. I'll give priority and precedence to the counselors who are here. So Arthur, Priyanka, and Rasco. I would like if each one of you can add to this conversation. Thank you.
I guess I'll go. So I'm thinking that obviously you can do like more event. You can do event and other thing, and that way you can get people to engage, and we can actually get people to want to come to our meeting, and then you can get people to want to come to the other come across the aisle and talk to us. So at the start, we can also focus on getting some meeting, like some event that basically help people to get along and then come to see us, then we definitely would have been able to.
Thank you. Thank you, Arthur. So just like to clarify, like events, to get people to engage, come to our meetings and focus on getting people to get along and see us. Is there anything else like that? I just like there's some parts I couldn't hear, so I just want to ensure that I get everything that you said here. So just to confirm, Arthur, oh yeah, you're just thinking we can use socials as a means, so like social events. Using social events to get people to engage with us. Okay. I'm getting that from the chat. Okay, thank you. So now calling on Priyanka and Rasco.
I believe Roscoe has some accessibility issues. So
I can hear you, Gur. Yeah.
there's a you're unmuted, Nick. You're muted, Nikki.
I just called Rasco to, he just was in a different call, so he's gonna come and add to this. And thank you, yeah, thank you so much, Bianca, for listing. I'm gonna make sure I save these. Chat. My notes as well. So Rasco is gonna add to this. So Rasco, just to give you an update, I'm asking about what are some of the priorities for our committee? What are like some of the vision and purpose of like what we should be doing, and also what are some guiding principles we should use to aid our decision making and ensure that it's representative of what students need and what they want. And you can just look at what people added in the chat as well. I just want all the everyone here to add to the conversation. Okay, Alan, you can go first since you listed.
Yeah, just kind of bouncing off of Arthur's idea with being more accessible socials. If we were to implement something, say like a meeting once a month that's more informal and it's just based on awareness and engagement with students, say a room in the sub, that might be a great idea to slowly over the year generate more student engagement. And yeah, I think that, and I guess a greater sense of community.
Thank you so much. Okay, so Rasco, are you ready? Okay, so seeing that, Roscoe, I will skip you for now, but just add in the chat as soon as you can later on. Yeah, so I'm just gonna read out what people said in the chat right now. So okay. So I will go here. So I'm just gonna read out from what Arthur said. So Arthur said, I'm just thinking we can definitely use socials as a mean to get people to engage with us. And I definitely agree with Alan that the more we can get, the better. I agree with that, Arthur. I think that we really need to step up student engagement, and socials are a really good way of doing that. Alan indicated plus, so he agrees with Arthur. It is up to us to be more accessible, and using socials as a gateways for connections with members of the student body is a great priority. Yeah, like the thing is, like if we don't even have like socials, like how can students actually engage with us? That's just the first step, right? Just having them be there, right? And I think that like making these socials very accessible, which is what Arthur and Alan mentioned as well. Like, so it's not just like the most engaged students that are actually coming to these socials, and the ones that are most involved already, but the ones that, you know, may not traditionally come out to socials and student engagement opportunities to really like access them and communicate with them and promote these things in a really low barrier manner that gets to different populations of students. Because we don't just want the same students over and over again. We don't just want the most local students. We want, which, and it's great for them to come, don't get me wrong, right? But we want to have a representative student population who come to socials and to actually engage with us as a committee so that we can ensure that the things that we're doing in the committee are actually representative of what the student body wants, not just a small population. Right. Okay, so yeah, and then Arthur said, yeah, because right now SFU is starting to feel like a commuter school thanks to the pandemic. That is so true. So Priyanka listed, thank you for typing. No, I really appreciate that. Actually helps me. So Priyanka said, sorry, just going to type this out. But regarding principals, I definitely agree with Alan. A key thing should be trying to increase student engagement because it's historically not been the greatest. And coming out of online learning, I think there's a lot more opportunity to do that in person. Exactly, right? There's so much that we haven't, like, I guess, like uncapitalized ground and, you know, like lack of better words to talk about it. Like we really need to step it up, especially since we have the opportunity to do it now. Yeah, student engagement has not historically been the greatest. That's really one of the things I really want to come and improve and fix once I came into SFSS, because I really felt like I was lacking everywhere, not just, you know, here, but really like, we need to make a community and a community that actually cares and knows how to be involved, right? And Priyanka said, I think that there's a lot more opportunity to do that person, and also with the guiding principle within the committee, making sure everyone feels welcome to share their thoughts, ideas within the committee. Yeah, open dialogue and discourse, making sure that we can have a back and forth. And really, I think that discussions are actually one of the most productive things we can do to move forward. And I don't want to ever shut down anyone or make anyone feel unwelcome. I really want everyone to feel welcome to express themselves, and we can just talk things through. I really want us to be able just to, in this community, just be able to talk things through and really respect each other as much as possible. And I saw that Arthur and Brasco with plus, they really agree with that. And then, yeah, thanks Priyanka for that. And Alan said like a mini town hall. Sorry, my ideation is not appropriate. I have to move our follow-up. And then Arthur said, I'm thinking that a mini town hall is definitely an idea. Yeah, that's good. Making sure that it's accessible, right? That people know about it. Yeah, all good. Thank you so much, guys, for this. So does anyone else want to list? Actually, now I'll open it up to, there's Abby here, there's Ryan, Alan, Muriel, anyone. I'm going to open it up now to the non-voting members and the guests. So Muriel, Alan, Lam, Ryan, Abby, feel free to add to this. Feel free to, so if you want to add, just list in the chat, or even just like add into the conversation in the chat here. Yeah, so yeah, so Ryan, would you like to add to the conversation? Feel free, you can just type list, like, so it looks like this. I just showed an example. You don't need the quotation marks, but that's just how you indicate that you want to talk, and then I can call on you. Would you like to add to this discussion? I would really like to get your perspectives on the record, especially. So yeah. So I just see here, you can type it too. Yeah. So Ryan, would you like to add? Not yet, just still listening. Okay, no problem. Just feel free to add it to the chat when you're ready. I'm going to, Alan, would you like to add anything? Okay, all good. Feel free to add in the chat because there's a active conversation going on there right now. So if you guys come up with any other ideas, even on this, when we move on to other discussion items, just feel free to add it in the chat. Should be good. Okay, so we'll move on to next one here. So 11.4, and this is really important. I really want everyone to add to this. Selection criteria for members at large, because the main purpose of this meeting really is to go through members at large. We'll definitely have to extend the meeting a little bit to go through that. But I want to have a preliminary discussion so we can have a fair, democratic, impartial process that's based on some agreement of guiding principles and selection criteria for our member at large selection. So I would like to also, I can start the conversation. So list. The reason I structured the agenda today the way I did was to talk about like policy first, and then talking about our purpose, vision, and guiding principles of the committee, is because I hope that like this conversation would inform our selection criteria for the members at large, and that we can use like what we talked about as the selection criteria if we can come to a consensus. Yeah, hopefully that's good. So like I'll just say first, like I think that since it seems like the common theme of what everyone here is saying is really about increasing student outreach involvement in our committee, I think that looking at people and evaluating the member at large applications with the mind frame of who is actually has like that same kind of value with student outreach, engagement, dialogue, all those things as their priority or one of their main priorities. I think that's something that we should be looking for in the committee. Hopefully that's good. Where do you guys stand on that? Feel free to list or plus or add in the chat. Right, pluses. What about the committee members? So Arthur, for clarification, we are in 11.4 selection criteria for members at large. So I just wanted to say that I was hoping that like our earlier discussion could act as a bit of a guide for the criteria that we come up for selecting members at large, and that what we've discussed earlier can help guide us in our selection. So I was saying that it seems like the common theme is prioritizing student outreach and meaningful student outreach and effective student outreach, like that is accessible and that really gets to wide student populations and is representative, and that really like encourage students to be involved and build a community around what we're doing. I think that seems to be the general consensus, and I hope that that's just one example of the selection criteria we should use. We should look for people that maybe have a similar inclination towards that or similar values. Yeah, so Arthur started in the chat saying that I think obviously the more diverse people we can get, the better. Yeah, because that like improves like student representation. That's good. Here, so I would like if maybe some people can list and just add to this. Stretch for criteria. Yeah, I know. Like I think we have to talk about like diverse in what way maybe as well. If you want to list and add to that, Arthur. Really hot in here. I'm gonna make sure that the air AC is on, by the way. Okay, so Arthur, would you like to list and just add to that? So like by maybe talking about what you mean by like diversity, so what you'd be looking for. Bigger listed, feel free to go forward.
I think like we need to see like sometimes like they're like continuing students who are like of age and they want to go back to university. That could be one list, like to help them. We can check with like some commuter students who live far away in Fraser Valley, and stuff like that, and like with students who have have some form of neurodiversity and some form of disability. So we need to mark all these kind of audience, not just based upon color and racialized individuals, but that is important too. So I would say that any form of troubles that anyone's facing in their groups should be considered. Like part-time working students too, like a lot of students are part-time students and they work part-time, so that we could consider too. So there are like a lot of such groups present.
Thank you so much, Gers. So to clarify, it's really like things that add to like the diversity of students that are not just based on color and racialized identity, but also things that impact their like daily life. I guess like there's other categories like continuing education students that are, you know, mature students, commuter students live far away, students with some form of neurodiversity and disability, students that work part-time. I would say also like full-time, some students work full-time, which is intense, right? And there's a lot of different considerations in these kind of categories. Great, thank you so much. I'll move on to Alan next.
Yeah, I just wanted to agree with what Gur said, especially related to the aspect of jobs that most students have, where a lot of students are working. So having that aspect, like a student who works 30, 40 hours a week part-time can give at least a more thorough interpretation of anything we would even think of. And so another thing, then the main point I wanted to bring for our criteria is that I would really like rate any candidates who are just great at idea generation and who can consistently come up and understand issues of the current university or any affairs there. So it would really be keeping an eye out for who has great answers to ways that the university can better support students and who has a already discernible vision without even being in the committee.
Like one thing we could do with our application process is like shoot them with the problem and hopefully they come up with a solution, and we can see like whose solution is resonating with the committee, and hopefully we can pick people that way. So yeah.
Great, thank you so much. So I do want to clarify that due to like timelines and everything, the application forms have been sent out already, but I think before maybe we finalize the selection, we can send out another follow-up, which is a problem-solving question. If you feel that we all feel like that would be good, and we can talk about that. So now I'll look into the list here. Did anyone else list? I see some conversation. So yeah, Rasco said plus to Gur that we need people from all sorts of backgrounds, and that's expressing agreement. Arthur says, yeah, it's overlap with equity, but like in the sense, the more diverse we get, the more people would trust us. Alan plus to Gur, so agreement. Gur, happy face. Yay. Alan, like the idea of a more complex question application than just a sentence and text box. Yeah, that's actually good. And Arthur said, not overly too complicated of a problem, but yes, that'd be a good idea. So it's good to see that there's agreement with that. Let's add it. Let's bring this out to the others that are here. Any thoughts? Priyanka, you want to add anything? You can message it in the chat. Alan said something, but yeah, Priyanka, feel free to write in text. If you feel like you can add to this conversation, I like your opinion. Just about like what kind of selection criteria we can use for member at large applications and how we can evaluate applications. And also, yeah, and since I know that Ryan has applied, but anyone else, Alan Lamb, since you are a senator, undergraduate student senator, it'd be good to get your opinion as well. You have a say. Muriel has a say if you want to talk, but feel free. Yeah. So, and I think Roscoe is doing something else. So I actually hope that you guys add to the conversation, but I'll read out Alan in the. Yeah, there's two Alan actually. Oh my God, there's Alan Roki and then Alan Lamb. Very cool. Okay, so Alan wrote communication said, oh, sorry, I should have clarified, but yeah, I think we should really look at how students answer the current application questions. And what ways do you think the university can better support students, and how do you think academia can be improved to better serve the needs of students? Have a focus on how students answer those two questions as it relates to the direct work they would be doing. Alan Lamb agrees with Alan. So like, I actually want to ask a follow-up question, Alan. So you're saying that have a focus on how students answer those two questions, and since it does relate to the direct work they would be doing. So I'm saying, like, now if we pick that apart, what is the selection criteria of how we focus on how students answer those questions? Like, what should we be looking for in their answers? And because I feel like we should come up with a consensus as a committee before looking into the applications, just so we have some form of structure to work off of. So if you could add to that, that'd be great. I know, like, it might take some while to think about it. I'm kind of putting on the spot here. I'm so sorry, but yeah, if you can just like, if you can think of any like guiding principles or like selection criteria of like how we can actually evaluate, they say. That'd be great, Alan. If you can list Muriel, I'll go with you now. So hi, Muriel. Thank you. I will call, you can talk.
Hi, what I wanted to say in terms of the diversity stuff, I'll probably also say get people from different levels, first year, second year, third year, those doing honors, final year, not only full-time and part-time, but also students who are auditing, because one thing that people don't recognize is that most of the benefits that are accrued to students at the university, majority goes to full-time students before it flows down to part-time. Then I don't even want to talk about auditing students, they don't get anything. And usually auditing students are students who face developmental and learning disabilities, so they don't even get anything, because the university has it at the back of their mind that the government comes in, but the government funding for such students is also limited and capped on certain things, so they can't really access those things. So that's what I would say. I would also say that in terms of the questions, asking people questions is also a great way to do that. But the thing is, you don't want textbook answers. That's the thing. You can just Google and then you get an answer, then you just put it there and you seem like a good candidate. Sometimes too, some people find it very hard to express themselves. So like trying to juggle how you're gonna go about it. I don't know whether you want to maybe probably narrow it down, then you send it out again to students to solve that specific question, so that it's not really a wide pool that you keep on searching for people from. Now, after I'll suggest maybe 2 selections. So the first one, you select the pool in which you are going to get the 7 people, more than 7, but like the 7 people you think will be ideal for the committee. Then for the people that you didn't select, you can tell them that, hey, you can be a non-voting member and see their reception, see who actually really wants to join the committee. Like with the people that you have let go, then for the people that you really want them to join, you give them the problem solving situation for them to do that. Then you get their feedback, then you guys can access who should be part of the committee and who should not be. Something like that, just because it's voluntarily, so people are volunteering their time, and sometimes if you make it much more tedious, some of them may fall away. But it's also a good way to see who wants to be in the really wants to be in it and who doesn't want to be in it.
Thank you so much. I really agree with you, Muriel. These are really good points. I noted them all down, and I really agree with you there, because like I think that, yeah, like if we ask too much from them, it is a voluntary position and it can be tedious and people can drop out, but that's also a way to test people to see who actually is really motivated to join. And I think that's a really good thing to go forward with it. And we need to balance those 2 things as well. I really agree with you, Muriel. Like these are great suggestions. And to also get people from different levels, you know, with first, second, third, fourth year honors, part-time, full-time, even auditing students. Most people don't consider auditing students, but there's still a student population here. Yeah, so that's great advice. Thank you. And I see a lot of pluses in the chat from Alan, Ryan, Priyanka, and Gur. Thank you so much. And I saw that Priyanka listed, so I'll just read out it as if she listed. So Priyanka said, I agree with Gur and Arthur by trying to find students with different experiences with SFU. Gur gave some great examples. So I believe that's those who continuing students with age, commuter students live far away in Fraser Valley, students have some form of neurodiversity and disability, students that work part-time or even full-time. It'll help us have a better representation of the student population and issues different student groups face that we can hopefully address going forward. So like taking into account different student groups. And Priyanka said, just wondering if anyone had a link to the current application questions. I was hoping to look over them quickly. I'm wondering, I could probably send that, but I wonder maybe Muriel, I don't know if you have time. You can drop into the chat. I can also do it as well. Because I think it's somewhere in my email, but it's like really like deep in there. So I'll have to find it, but I can look right now if you'd really like to. Feel free, everyone, to continue in the chat. I'll look for it. Applications. I think I can find it. Actually, I think I have it.
Have you got it? I'm going to look.
I got it, but I have to log in. Or log in. How do I need to log in with some sort of. Oh my! I might actually not even have access to the job form. You can edit the submission and view all your submissions easily.
I could get the questions for you. Do you want the jot form?
Yeah, that'd be great. Like the questions, and I'm just looking for the applications just to have them ready. We'll go through them. You know, here. There's been some new ones since, but we'll just go through the first call this time, and then next meeting we'll go through the second call. So I think actually I have some of the questions. I can probably just put it in here. Okay, actually Alan just put a link saying click the University and Academic Affairs one. So great. I think we got it. That's good. Okay, so Rasco listed. So feel free to add to the conversation.
I'm just wondering, is there a dashboard where we can go through all the applications, or do they just get forwarded to the email?
Since they're considered to be personal information, HIPAA does prevent us from talking about publicly, and it's not ethical to talk about it publicly. And I could send it to all of you, but I'm just thinking about just screen sharing and going through them in camera. But like when we actually make the final decisions, if people want, I can probably send it via email, but you just have to make sure to keep it confidential and not share with anyone. Okay, thank you. So I'll just go in here, just read what some people said in the chat. So Ryan says, I agree the fact that turning supporting to union life is narrowed down to academic life should be changed, given the fact that SFU is going into more internationalized community. I'd love to talk about that with you and see your thoughts on that. And Alan said plus Muriel encouraging them to join as non-voting members is a great idea, to engaging them. Yeah, so we are actually allowed to have like up to 7 voting member at large members, and everyone else would be encouraged to join as non-voting. So that'd be great. And I really want to have this be really an engaged committee as much as possible. Yeah, so if anyone else wants to say anything, feel free to list. Otherwise, we will move on to the 5th agenda item, which is quite brief. It's just about advertisements. 11.5, the one I amended it into the agenda, advertisements, student outreach, remember large applications. Does anyone else have any lists before we move on? Since I guess that's good. Okay, 11.5 advertisements, student outreach, remember large applications. The second call of remember large applications closes on Thursday. So I'm just thinking is everyone in favor of heavy promotion of it? Because I really want to make sure that we have a lot of people that actually contribute to the applications and that we can reach as many different student populations as possible. And I was planning on posting personally on my personal social media, because I do have a good networking, good connection with the student body. I guess like this, are you all like in favor of me sharing the call for applications on my personal social media to reach more students? Just thumbs up if that's okay. Just thumbs up. So if not, just let me know. I see like it'll, yeah, I see. Okay, cool. Awesome. That's great. Yeah.
Arthur and Abhi are not in the room right now for some reason, but yeah.
Wait, sorry, what? Who was talking?
I think Arthur is in washroom right now, and like Abhi is somewhere else too for a second. So I don't.
Okay, all good. That makes sense. Yeah, so I'm like planning. So I see Rasco says that he's been resharing on his socials. I think it's a good idea for us all to reshare on our social media. For the second call for members at large before it closes. I'm planning on sharing on my Instagrams. I have one personal one that has a lot of a connection with the student body, but I also made a separate one for specifically just for student politics. Also on Reddit, I'm planning on going on Facebook undergrads. So I just want to say, like, for those that are here, are you guys good with that? Yeah, so Gur says he encourages everyone. Rasco's been resharing. Okay, and I think that Ellen, what do you think? Bianca, what do you think? Ryan, like, how do you think we should advertise this? Alan says he's down. Yeah, we should reshare it. I think also one thing that would be good is that, yeah, Priyanka agrees with that. Yeah, I think that if we can, I would encourage reaching out individually to people that you think would actually make good members at large, the applicants, and encouraging them to apply as well. So if you know anyone that would like to be involved as well, you can ask them personally as well. I would like this to be as overreaching as possible in the sense of like being able to like reach as many people as we can. And it doesn't necessarily mean just our friends, but that can be a part of the applicants. So I would encourage everyone to reach out to people that they know that they think would make really good additions to the team here, and also to try to reach out in a low barrier manner. I think that doing so in like social media is probably a good way. I don't think we have time for in-person ways of doing so, but yeah, I think there seems to be a consensus that it's good for us to reach out on our personal social media. I really encourage everyone to do that. Okay, so moving on to the next one, student tuition consultation. So this is just an opportunity for anyone to add to the discussion from prior about the student tuition consultation meeting I had with the university administration. They seem to be very willing to hear student voices and try to be as representative as possible in their outreach. I hope that, you know, if they do get representative information, that they use it and it's not just like performative, right? Who knows what would happen, right? I really hope that it's it has an effect that, you know, like if students say that they want their priority, for example, to be put towards increasing counseling supports and making counseling more accessible, SFU public counseling. That's something I've heard a lot about. If they say that they want more but of the budget to be allocated towards student services, specifically help and counseling, I hope that that would be taken into account by the university administration. Does anyone have anything to say? Does anyone like have any actually because we do need to talk about it really briefly. So I'm just saying, like, what are some like priorities that you know of that you think would be good going forward for the allocation of our tuition? Like, how do you think tuition should be spent? That's the question. I'll start with myself. I'll list for myself. So I think that for myself, what I think tuition should be spent on, and it's just my personal perspective, but also a little bit of like what I've gathered from being engaged in student leadership positions for several years now, is I do think that student services, that students are really in high demand. for students, like health and counseling specifically, needs to have more allocation of funding, because honestly, like I've tried to access counseling through there and it is really difficult to access. The wait lists are really long. And when you're in a position, I find of like negative mental health, and if you're having negative, like just like if you're not in a bad place, you're not always in the right mindset to really advocate for yourself really hard and to be prioritized and make sure that you actually can get access to things. So there's a lot of unnecessary barriers in accessing mental health supports at SFU. It is quite discouraging. I think it makes people not actually reach out and get the help that they need. So I really think that it needs to be much more accessible for people to be able to actually get the help that they need. And I'm not just using, like, I really want to make sure that we're not just using accessibility as a buzzword, but we're actually finding a way to make accessibility meaningful and actually write down and strategize how like accessibility needs to be addressed. Because to me, what accessibility means in terms of accessing counseling and helping counseling or mental health supports is, for example, I don't want to have to call a 9:30 a.m. every morning for a same day appointment. For example, if I'm really tired and I have insomnia and I haven't been able to sleep, and that's the only way for me to get an appointment, for example, right? Like I think that there should be other ways of getting appointments, that you can put your name on a wait list, for example, when you actually have the ability and energy to reach out. So it's not just predicated on you having energy at the exact time that they are taking appointments, right? I think that's like one example, but another example is just like having more of it available for students, so that you don't have to like constantly be explaining your situation and trying to make yourself seem really sick to be able to be taken seriously and to be prioritized by their triage, right? Yeah, no problem, Priyanka. Thank you so much. I see a plus and from Priyanka and Alan. Thank you for your support there. But yeah, that's like, for example, that's what one of my priorities. I really want mental health, but not just like, I think one thing too, it's a lot to ask for, because it's already like I think a lot of it is not very, I guess, robust even at the moment. So we have to make realistic asks, but I think also more long-term mental health supports for those that really need it, because like they do offer, for example, mental health nurses, access case managers, but those are always issue-based, short-term, like appointment by appointment kind of thing. And a lot of times when people are going through issues, they need more long-term supports, and they don't have the financial resources to access counseling or therapist on their own, right? I think that that really needs to be addressed, because we're told as students to go access counseling outside of SFU if we need long-term counseling, but it's unrealistic for most students because it's extremely expensive, and we really need to look into how we can make that something that's easy and accessible for people. Yeah, so this is 11.6, the new 11.6. I really think that student services specifically and meaningful and effective mental health measures is a priority. Would anyone else like to list and talk about how they would like their tuition money to be spent? Plus from Alan, thank you. Alan, I would like if you can add, you can list, or you can unmute your mic and just add to it. How would you like your tuition to be spent?
I'm definitely in agreement with you. I feel like mental health is it's like a large issue, especially in SFU. We don't really have long-term kind of solutions. We have short-term like kind of remedies. So I feel like if we allocated more money towards like long-term mental health solutions, that would definitely help. Well, there's a large incentive, I feel like, for like SFU in general, in terms of like increased GPA would be like correlated with better mental health or increased student interaction. So it's like it's I feel like it's that root, the root of the problem. It's the mental health. So I feel like allocation there would be more beneficial than other areas.
So I'm in very much so agreement with you, Al and Lam. Thank you so much. Now, Gur, you can speak now. I see that you're listed.
Yep, I agree with Alan on all he's saying. I feel like in general, like SFU doesn't really allocate in like making sure we know their resources. In some sense, it's like I'm in my third, fourth year of university now, and I'm just getting to know a lot about like these resources, right? So I feel like they really need to work upon expanding Cal and like mental health services, as well as like the accessibility to those services. Yeah.
Yeah, Gur, thank you so much. I agree with you. I do want to have a quick caveat here and say that like I agree with like expanding like Cal and accessibility, but as well as mental health, but I really want to have an emphasis on meaningful mental health measures, because a lot of times short-term mental health modalities are not sufficient for dealing with the majority of our things, and students don't have access a lot of times to getting long-term mental health modalities outside of school. It's extremely expensive. Therapists are overworked. It's really hard to even get an appointment, even if you have the means to do so. So thinking about that, I really do think that long-term therapy should be offered, and also there should be more of it available, and it should be easier to access, so that if students, for example, if students are in a depressive state or negative mental health state, they're not always in the best mental space to be able to advocate for themselves. So making the process as easy as possible, so they don't have to advocate for themselves very hard, and that it's accessible, and that they don't have to go over a mental block to actually be able to reach out. And it's also one thing that I've heard a lot of complaints about. And the thing is, this is what's I think somebody mentioned earlier. I think it was Gur. Thank you so much for mentioning this earlier. I think that a lot of like complaints about, for example, even help and counseling services are they exist. Students have a lot of feelings about how help and counseling services, for example, is operating. But it's disorganized. There's not really a clear way of them organizing their thoughts into advocacy, right? And that's what we're here for. We want to be able to have them organize their thoughts and their complaints and build advocacy on that, right? That's really our role here. And I've heard a lot of complaints about some of the front desk staff at health and counseling services maybe being coming off as rude or dismissive or not compassionate. And students have complained to both to me directly, and also I've seen it on social media that when they're in a negative mental state, they can't necessarily handle that kind of thing, and that they should be going forward more with, like, I guess, compassion. And these are just like unorganized complaints. We definitely need to find a method of organizing this, right? But that's just one example of how accessibility can be improved in being able to access mental health resources, even when you're calling in to have like somebody that's really helping, guiding you through everything. Thoughts here. Anyone else like to add to this? So what do you think are the budget priorities? How would you like money to be spent? Let's go through this so we can end the meeting sometime. Like, I think that, and we also have to motion to extend the meeting, actually. Just realize that. So I move to extend the meeting to 8 p.m. Need a seconder?
Communication.
Communications. Okay, thank you. Seeking unanimous consent. Any dissent, please raise now. Okay, great. Okay, we're moving, extended the meeting to 8. Thank you very much, everyone. Okay, and thank you, Ryan, for the +++ and Gur for the ++++. Thank you. Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, I think that if anyone else doesn't have anything to say, let's just move on. I think we can always come back to this later about what the tuition priorities are, but thank you so much, Rasco, for coming. Bye. Okay, 11.7, optimizing student outreach and engagement and membership surveys. I think that we can talk more about this at another time. I move to talk about this at another time. let's see if everyone's okay with skipping this item. Also, departmental student union outreach, we'll skip this one for the next time and move it to the next meeting. Is everyone okay with those? So that in new 11.7 and 11.8, so optimizing student outreach and engagement in membership surveys and departmental student union outreach. We have forums, all good. Yeah. So is everyone good with skipping those ones? Thumbs up. We have to go in camera soon. Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay, because I'm just mindful of the time. I don't want to keep everyone here for too long. New 11.9 fall 2022 meeting time. So I'm going to be asking everyone to send me their schedules for the fall semester. And yeah, please do so. I'll just be sending over email. Just give me one moment. I need to. I just had somebody walk in and they're just checking the air AC because it's very hot in here. I think it's 27 degrees Celsius in here. Yay, air AC. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'll be asking everyone for their schedules and we'll be deciding on a meeting time going forward for the fall. It's set for August right now. An upcoming emergency meeting. This is the new 11.10. So in terms of this item, we will be having another emergency meeting. We need to go through the second poll of applicants and make decisions there in terms of who we're actually hiring to the committee. That will be on, let's see, it's right here. I'll just read it out for accuracy. The next meeting is Tuesday, August 2nd, 2022, 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Ideally, I would like to have it earlier, but I understand that everyone has their capacity and I don't want to ask for too much from everyone. I was thinking about having another emergency meeting on Thursday, but I feel like it might be a lot. So I'm okay with having that on Tuesday, and I might look into provisions to see if there's a small number of us can meet before that to go through any business if we need to. But right now, the next emergency meeting is Tuesday, August 2nd, 2022, 5:30 to 7:30, or 5:30 to 7:30. I guess it's fine, or 5:30 to 7. Either way, it's fine. Yeah, so those are all the discussion items, unless anyone wants to list or talk about the 11.9. Then we'll like motion to move in camera if there's nothing else. So thumbs up if everyone's good to start motioning to move in camera. I'm going to make what I see from Alan, and we'll be after this. We'll be okay. Gerd listed.
Can non-counselors be in camera for?
Unfortunately, what I know is that non-counselors can't be in camera, but then you can come out afterwards. But I would say like afterwards, we're just going to make announcements, and you can see the announcements from the agenda. I'm just going to drop it in here because I don't want people to stay and waste their time if they don't have to. I'm not saying this is a waste of time, right? But there's honestly nothing after in camera. Just announcements. So what I'm going to say is that after an announcement, so here upcoming UAAC meeting, right? You guys know that, right? Everyone is here already. This non-member is still welcome and encouraged to come to those ones. And it's just a discussion of what's upcoming. So Muriel, you listed?
I was wondering if on Thursday morning, I would like to share the draft of the priorities, like a list of them, for people to give their feedback, so that we'll have more people, because we're trying to get the feedback from students rolled out by the time we'll have the next meeting. So if people are comfortable with it, I'm going to tidy it up, send it to Nikki, and Nikki will send it to all of you, and you can just leave your comments in there. So you can say, oh, you think this could be better if it's framed this way, or this should be left out, something like that. so that we can finalize that before you guys have the next meeting. So that's what I wanted to say. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Muriel. So that actually was one thing I was considering. So I was looking into some of the provisions surrounding emergency meetings and how we can conduct business in the UAAC. And I'm looking into Thursday. So this is the 28th, it's this week. Muriel, what time were you, I guess this is technically a direct response, so I just want to do it. But I'm just thinking like, what time do you think you'll be done that by? Because what I'm thinking is, I learned that I can call like an informal UAAC meeting and whoever is available to come can come. So even if we just have like 1 or 2 counselors there, we can still convene a meeting just for one purpose. And we can actually just finalize that list of priorities on Thursday. Just have a really quick like half an hour to hour meeting. I was thinking in the afternoon. Muriel, what time do you think you'll be done that by?
I could be done by noon. Let me just check. Yeah. Oh, hold on. No, I'll check it. Let me check what I have for. Okay, yeah, I could be done by noon. Yeah.
Okay, great. If you could be done by noon, I'll check like okay, at 4 p.m. Prospectively, who would be available to just come for like a max like an hour just to talk about the list of priorities for the budget survey. So I'll just give a bit of a summary here. Muriel is working on a survey to go out to the SFSS membership, so all the students, the whole student body, to ask them to rank in a list what is their priorities for the budget consultation process. So like so that we can actually like cater the survey to be asking the right questions. So for example, we can give recommendations on the budget. Like for example, like mental health as like one, and even go like deeper into it. We'll just be workshopping that. So I guess like I think Arthur was able to go. I guess who else? Arthur's here. There's some over there. Yeah, Arthur. Like, wait, can you come on Thursday? Is 4 okay? That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you got one, maybe one other personnel needs to be good, but we got at least Arthur, so we can still convene things. So I'm gonna ask Muriel, is it okay if 12 o'clock you send it to me? I'll have like a informal UAAC meeting just for that purpose. We'll send you back a draft, and then by Friday we'll be finished with that, and it'll get approved in exec.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, and Gerson,
I don't know, but like when I leave, when you guys get in camera, or even now, I was thinking probably I don't know how much budget was given to UAAC, but something of an incentive, not too much to be to seem as if we are enticing students to participate, but something to encourage students to get on board. I don't know, but like during the COVID-19 survey, like we had almost 5,000 responses and there was nothing attached to it. Like we didn't ask students didn't get anything from having to fill out their survey. So sometimes too, it also has to do with the messaging, how we carry it across. If it's hits home, sometimes you don't need to give them any incentives. The students will fill the form either way. So it just depends how you guys think about it, whether you want to give them an incentive, maybe they'll enter a raffle and win something, or maybe we will have to do a good job with crafting the message when it goes out as to why students should fill the survey for us.
Thank you so much, Muriel. No, that sounds good. I totally understand that. Like, and that's really amazing that you had almost 5,000 responses without an incentive for the COVID-19 survey. So that just shows that messaging can even be really powerful, and if we can add both of that together. I know that the UAAC actually doesn't have a dedicated budget, but if we do need money, I can ask Abby and we can see where we can get it from. So it shouldn't be a problem. So and we can decide that on Thursday. So I can see that Gur, Priyanka, and Arthur can come. Hopefully Alan will be able to as well. Alan, Roki, and others can come as well. You're free to. It's just like I don't want to be too much of a nuisance. Yeah, no, that sounds good. So Muriel, just to confirm, if the UAAC meets at 4, and we get to you like the comments and responses and feedback by, let's say, I can type it up and be ready 5:36. Is that good for you? Actually, no, maybe
That's
6
good.
would be good. Yeah, like
Okay.
that'll be okay for you.
Currently, our comms coordinator is on vacation. So, like, if I get it quicker, we can actually get it into whichever platform we would want to conduct the survey on, and then try to get things together. Because since she's not around, be a lot of logistics behind the scenes stuff that the assistant doesn't have access to. So we'll have to sort that one out too. So ample time will be appreciated. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. And that makes a lot of sense. Like, I think that if we can collaborate with it, it would be really good. And I think maybe we can share it like in a Google Doc, and then we can just like add comments and edit, kind of work that way so you can make live edits and just have it drafted, because I know that it is a really tight deadline, and I really appreciate you, Muriel, for being able to be willing and happy to work with this. Thank you so much. No, I think that'd be good. So I will say that so I'm going to add to the emergency meeting. So we will be meeting on Thursday, July 28th, 2022. From 4 o'clock, let's say to 5 o'clock p.m. I might not go that long, but let's just block it off. Okay, so that is the emergency meeting. Budget priorities. So I think this is really, so the thing is, when I talk about significance, I think that yeah, thank you so much, Ellen, for trying to make it work. But that's good. I think that the significance of this, even just this emergency meeting, is that giving students the ability to comment on budget priorities is really important, because it's important for them to have a say in how their tuition is spent, so that the university can offer services and improve their quality of education in a way that actually serves students, instead of just doing it from a top-down approach and assuming what students want. So I think this is really important, and this is a really good thing that we're being able to do as within the UAAC. So I'm really happy that we have this opportunity, and I'm excited for Thursday. So I'm calling that Thursday, July 18th, 2022, 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m. emergency meeting for budget priorities survey. And I'll send out an invitation for that. Thank you, Alan, for that. So now, anyone else have anything else to add to the discussion before we move in camera? And I want to say that for those that are not members, so so the people that get to stay are Arthur. I wonder if Muriel, do you know if non-voting members can go on camera? If their name,
Unfortunately not.
Okay, so it would only be later on, if any of the students get elected as members at large for this committee, they will be able to go on camera, I believe, but until then, it's only those who are currently elected. So Arthur, Priyanka, I believe, yeah, Arthur and Priyanka and Alan Rupke, all of you can go on camera. Unfortunately, everyone else will have to not be able to go on camera. I recommend, thank you so much, yeah, Alan Lam, for being here. Alan Lam is a student senator, an undergraduate student senator. Thank you for being here. I really love for you to come again, and feel free to actually apply for this committee so you can get a vote if you're interested in coming out. Thank you so much for being able to handle, this, because I'm just learning how to chair these committee, and I hopefully it'll be smoother later on and go faster and everything. So thank you for your patience. I'll reach out to you with an application, and you can look into it to see if you're interested to be in named member at large, so you have voting rights if you're interested. And yeah, the rest is just announcements. So I sent it in the chat, but I'm going to send it again. UAA. So just download this agenda and look at the announcements. That would be the stuff that you would miss if you didn't know, but that's it. Now we'll go in camera. So I will thank you so much, everyone. So I will move. Thank you, Muriel, so much for being here too. I really wanted to choose a time that also hopefully this time works for you as well. Thank you for being here. I'm going to move, be it resolved to go in camera for the remainder of the meeting. I move this, I need a seconder.
Priyanka seconds or Healthline seconds.
Okay, seeking unanimous consent. Okay, that passed. So thank you so much, everyone else who is here. I think I actually need to list Gur. Go ahead.
I think breakout room would be a good option to go in
Any-
camera.
Yeah, I need to assign. Create, assign, how do I assign it? Okay, add a room, room 1. Assign, I've never done this before. So Alan, Arthur. Okay. Thank you. Okay, I will send and okay, did anyone get an invite to go in the breakout room? Okay, see you soon. Okay, hello, everyone. I'm back. Yeah, so I will actually do this again. So I'm going to say be it resolved to move X camera for the remainder of the meeting. Seconder, Bianca, right?
Yeah.
So repeat it. Okay. Unanimous consent. It seems like we moved on X camera. Great. So I'll say I'm also sending another motion, be it resolved to extend the meeting to 8:15 p.m. I move this. I need a seconder.
Priyanka seconds.
Thank you very much, Bianca. Okay, great. So we extended the meeting to 8:15 p.m. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Sorry for it going longer. Okay, so now since we're at X camera, the only other things on the agenda, I gave us a lot of extra time, but we don't really need it, are just the announcements. So actually, I do need to amend the agenda. So I'm going to move to amend the agenda to add to 16.1 upcoming UAAC meetings. Before the first point, I'm going to be adding Thursday, July 28th, 2022 from 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m. So I'm moving to add that. I need a seconder to add that to the agenda. So it is Thursday, July 20th. So Thursday, July 28th, 2022, 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m. As 16.1. So I need a seconder for this.
Priyanka seconds.
Thank you so much. Seeking unanimous consent. Passed unanimously. Second, adding 16.1. Great. Okay, so I'm just going to read out the announcements and then we'll be moving to adjournment. So the upcoming UAAC meetings, the first one, emergency meeting Thursday, July 28th, 2022 from 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m. This is mainly focused just around the tuition prioritization survey. So what are the tuition priorities that students would like and how should we structure the survey to make it as constructive as possible for students and to be as meaningful as possible when we're actually asking the student body for their opinions. That's what we'll be talking about and focusing on for that meeting. After that, there's another emergency meeting called for Tuesday, August 2nd, 2022 from 5:30. I'll just keep it, I guess it ended up being 5:30 to 7:30. I think that, well, most of them probably won't go that long, but we can just like block out that much time. Then Tuesday, August 9th, that 2022, 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. That's the start of the regular meetings. And then Tuesday, August 23rd, 2022, 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. And then in September, we will be scheduling it for a different time depending on availability of members. Next meeting, we will be, and I think the next meeting won't be the next meeting actually anymore. It's going to be the August 2nd meeting. Review of SFSS issues policies, the ones that pertain to what we do in this committee. Next meeting, review of previous university and academic affairs campaigns. Next meeting, revisiting accessible course practices. Next meeting, UAAC icebreakers, social event planning. The plan is to have an icebreaker and social between the committee members, and that would be after the members are larger appointed. And next meeting, UAAC meet and greet event for students. Next meeting, drafting of UAA priorities motion. Vice chair election will be upcoming sometime soon, and then review of the 2021-2022 UAA exit report will be sometime soon, depending on how things go. And yeah, now I will be moving to item 18 finally. Thank you so much everyone for being here. Adjournment. If anyone has anything else to add, feel free to do so before we adjourn, but I will be moving this is a motion UAA 2022-07-26. Be it resolved to adjourn the meeting at 8:03 p.m. I move this. Who would like to second?
Priyanka seconds.
Priyanka seconds, and seeking unanimous consent to end the meeting at 8:03 p.m. Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for being here for the first meeting. Thank you so much for handling me and being so patient with me while I figured out all this process of chairing, and it's a completely new thing. So I really appreciate it, especially this level of formality. It's different from my experience in departmental student unions. So I really appreciate your patience here, and I'm really looking forward to the year. See you guys in the next meetings, and stay in touch. Thank you so much.